bringing out the Udi. We're getting comfy. We are getting serious here. But I thought we would get comfy and basically chat a little bit because obviously a lot of things have been happening and I know a lot of it has been really sudden for a lot of y'all, and I know that y'all just have tons of questions. So I opened the floor on my Instagram and y'all flooded the little question bubble with so much stuff. So I thought, yeah, we would just sit down and chat about it, like have an honest conversation. I hate to keep like bringing it up, but I'm hoping that this is kind of like the last thing that I need to say about it, just to answer a lot of the questions. We're gonna go through some questions and I guess just, yeah, talk, chat, and hopefully give a little bit more context into some stuff now that like even more time has passed since this all happened. And I do want to add that all of this is said with like love and respect and everything, but I do want to be honest with what I do share. So let's just dive in. In no particular order, we're just going to go through some that had been asked like plenty of times. First things first, do you hold any resentment about the breakup? I definitely wanted to like answer this because I do not. Like there's no hard feelings, there's no harsh feelings, there's no hate, there's no ill anything towards him or his friends or family or anything like that. Like I don't regret it and I don't resent what happened even in the relationship or during the breakup. Like everything is like good on my end kind of thing. I can't really change the past, and so I'm not gonna like dwell on it or wish that things had been different or anything like that. Like it just is what it is, and whatever happened. So yeah, I don't have any like bad feelings towards anything that happened. Another biggie that I've been asked, because basically all I've been saying is this happened a while ago, is just how long has the breakup happened? This happened back in July, so we are now in October. It's been like 3 months or so, going on 4. On the same token, I got asked a lot like how I got over the breakup so soon, which obviously I want to preface that like what you see on social media isn't always the truth, and I didn't say anything or post that first video on my channel or on any of my socials until I was like ready to talk about it. And again, without getting into too much detail, because like the detail is not really that necessary, I of course got asked like, was this abrupt? Was it like sudden? Did something happen? And all of those kinds of questions. Essentially, it had been coming for quite some time. Like it wasn't something that happened like abruptly, in my opinion. I can't speak for, and I will never speak for like him or anything on that regard, but on my end, it wasn't something that was abrupt. It was something that like was inevitable, that was going to happen, that was coming. So thinking of that also, before it happened, it was already something that I had processed and like emotionally processed. So when it actually happened, it also had been a couple months of me like coming to terms that it was going to happen. So it wasn't something that happened that day and I needed months to like recover from, I guess, if that makes sense. I think that one of the hardest things, of course, to like deal with when it comes to a breakup is like who gets all the things that everybody bought together kind of thing. It was his decision to let me keep all of the like furniture and stuff that we had bought together. He definitely didn't have to do that. We started the conversation of like splitting it or like buying it out from each other. There's obviously a lot of different ways that you can go about it. He took basically what he wanted to take, and like, you know, certain kitchen appliances that were his or whatever, like anything that was his or anything that he necessarily like wanted was free for him, and he left everything else for me. Apart from like the inanimate objects that like you have to divvy up in a breakup, of course you have animals, and for us we have Kitty and Freya. Kitty was always mine, so I've had her since middle school. She's like 12 years old at this point. There was no question there that of course Kitty would be coming with me. Of course Freya, we did get together, and so that one was definitely something that we had to sit down and talk about and figure out what was going to happen with her. And if we're talking about this as like a child custody kind of thing, because essentially she's a kid, I'm her main, you know, guardian parent kind of thing. However, I'm not gatekeeping or keeping him away from her in any way, shape, or form. Whenever he wants to see her, he is more than welcome to. We are open to like co-parenting kind of thing, but yeah, she stays with me. I'm responsible for all of her expenses and her living situation. She will be with me full time. I will admit that was probably the hardest thing that we had to like come to an agreement or like compromise on, of course, because it's Freya. Yes, we still work at the same place, so we work together, but we kind of work on different fields per se, so I don't see him every day. I work from home and I work in like a completely different sphere than what he does and what he handles, even though we both work for the same company. So it really hasn't been an issue in terms of us like working together. It's not like we both work at Old Navy and we see each other every single day. We don't have to do that. And because of that, and because I like my job, and because I'm not gonna let something like a relationship or, you know, this ending completely derail my life or like make me make decisions that I don't want to make. Like I 100% am not planning on leaving my job. Like I really like my job. I plan on keeping all 3 jobs. I plan on just like keeping my life the way that it was. With that change has come a lot of other change, and honestly, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I love change. Like I always bring notable quotables into this, or like things that I like to live by, that like I just love change. Nothing changes unless something changes, and you know, when one door closes, another one opens. So like I welcome change with open arms, and sometimes it can be hard, but I am still really excited about change in general, no matter what the change is, including this one. But obviously some things that has changed is like expenses and stuff like that. Like everything that was once split, you know, 50-50 is now on me, including like Freya and Freya's expenses, and like taking her to daycare, picking her up. Like usually we shared a lot of those responsibilities of like who was watching her when I needed to go to an event weekend or whatever. So a lot of expenses and like Freya stuff has really changed, but I'm navigating the change and I'm, you know, figuring it out day by day, and it's been working out just fine. So in terms of like coping with the change and everything, there's not really much coping going on. To be completely honest, in the most respectful way possible, like not much has changed other than the expenses or like picking up and dropping off Freya myself. I always had all the bills in my name. Like I was the one that paid rent. I was the one that did the laundry and cleaned the house and do the grocery shopping and plan the days and figure out what's going on and keep things organized. Like I was already doing all of those things, so my life hasn't changed really. One thing that is changing is like the living situation, of course. We just moved into this apartment like a week before it happened. A couple of things on that. Like why didn't I choose to stay in this unit? So right after it happened, of course, we had to discuss what we were doing in that regard. This unit is a little too big for just myself. Like it's a 3-story townhome, and it's a little bit too expensive for myself to handle. I knew that I didn't want it, so I kind of left it up to him if he wanted to keep the unit. He also decided he didn't want it, and so we decided to buy out our lease. And I mentioned this in a previous vlog, but that is really expensive. If you guys ever plan on doing that, I highly suggest trying to figure out another way to do it. Essentially how that works is you have to give, at least at our complex, you have to give a 60 days notice that you are vacating the premise like prior to your lease, and you have to keep paying, you know, your rent and stuff like that, and then buy out the lease. And so that was something that we talked about as well, that I would stay here until the lease was over and he would move out. And I've been staying here, but I just will not be staying here long term. So at the end of my 60 days notice is October 11th. So I will be moving from this unit on that day into a new unit, which I guess is exciting. And again, more change, more things happening. When moving into this new unit, I will not be living alone. I will be living with someone else, and you guys will meet them eventually and, you know, get to know them and everything. But that is going to be another change that's going to be happening, which, you know, is exciting. And if you've been here for a while, you know that I have never really wanted to be in Ohio or stay in Ohio, or let alone Columbus and anything like that. I've wanted to move for ever. Like if I had it my way, I would have moved the day after I graduated. So of course I got questions on like if I'm moving away. Not yet. I just need to get like all my ducks in a row, and I kind of need to just sit with this change and like figure out this new change before even more change happens. So I will be staying in Ohio for like another year, but I do have plans on leaving. And we will end it on a fun question, which is, am I still planning on getting another dog, or has that changed? I 100% plan on getting another puppy. It's more on a matter of when than if. Again, I appreciate you guys coming along for the ride and just always being here for me. It means so much more than you guys will ever know, or that I will ever be able to put into words. I love you guys so much, more than you'll ever know, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!